Imagine you're the smartest person in the room, and that's exactly why everyone turns against you. You offer a brilliant solution, expecting applause, but instead you're met with icy stares or forced smiles. Ever felt the sting of being punished for your intelligence? It's a twisted paradox. In a world drowning in folly, sometimes the wisest move is to play the fool. Why would anyone act stupid in a stupid world? What hidden power lies in playing dumb when you know you're right? These questions strike at the heart of a profound insight, one that the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer understood all too well. Schopenhauer was no stranger to feeling isolated by intellect. Brilliant yet bitter, he watched as mediocrity won accolades while genius was ignored. He asked a bold question: what if being smart is a liability in a world ruled by stupidity? His answer was as shocking as it is insightful. Sometimes the only way to survive in an irrational society is to wear the mask of irrationality yourself. In other words, play dumb. This Echoes of Wisdom episode dives deep into Schopenhauer's philosophy to explore the strategic value of acting stupid in a stupid world. Stay with us, because what sounds like surrender might actually be secret power. From our first days in school, we're taught that being smart is good, answer correctly, get a gold star. But step into the real world, and a darker truth emerges, showing superior intelligence can spark anger and envy. Schopenhauer saw this clearly in human nature. He wrote that, with the immense majority of people exhibiting intelligence and discernment, excite hatred and resentment. Think about that. Your intelligence, which should be an asset, can mark you as a target. It's lonely at the top, especially when others secretly want to knock you down. Why does this happen? Schopenhauer explains that when someone less capable senses your brilliance, it's as if you've unintentionally insulted them just by being yourself. To show your intelligence is an indirect way of reproaching others for being dull, he says. In that moment, the other person imagines you must be judging them from on high. Their vanity is pricked. Since there is nothing of which a man is prouder than of intellectual ability, seeing yours shine painfully reminds them of their own limitations. The result? Bitterness stews beneath polite facades, Schopenhauer warns. It is an exceedingly rash thing to let anyone see that you are decidedly superior intellectually, because he will then thirst for vengeance. In other words, the moment someone feels outshone by your mind, they quietly plot to bring you down. Picture a gifted student in a classroom of average kids. She knows the answers, corrects mistakes, and aces tests. At first, teachers praise her, but her classmates? They roll their eyes, whispers start. She thinks she's so smart. Recess turns cold. She's left out of games. Eventually, she pretends not to know answers, hiding her talent just to fit in. Intelligence, instead of making her popular, painted a bullseye on her back. This isn't just childhood politics. It's a reflection of a broader social truth that Schopenhauer boldly articulated. He learned it the hard way in his own life. At 19, Arthur's brilliance had already turned abrasive. His mother, Johanna, wrote him a scathing letter, calling out how his know-it-all behavior alienated everyone. Your extreme intelligence casts a dark cloud over your good characteristics. You criticize everything and everyone, so it is not surprising that you become alienated. Nobody enjoys being corrected, most certainly not by such an insignificant little man as you. Ouch. The young philosopher was being told, your smartness isn't charming, it's overwhelming. This personal slap in the face would echo in Schopenhauer's later philosophy. It unveiled a painful reality. Being openly clever often backfires, obscuring your kindness and isolating you socially. Schopenhauer took this lesson to heart. He observed that great intellect can become a crime in the eyes of the masses, a crime of standing above them, one they will not forgive. While rank and riches may always reckon upon deferential treatment in society, he notes, that is something which intellectual ability can never expect. To be ignored is the greatest favor shown to it. Society might respect money or status, but a keen mind. At best, it's tolerated. At worst, it's resented as arrogance or impertinence. The wise often walk alone, not by choice, but because the crowd flees from them. As Schopenhauer puts it, mental superiority of any sort always tends to isolate its possessor. People run away from him out of pure hatred. The intellectually gifted become lonely exiles, punished for the very gifts that could benefit everyone. So, what is a person of intellect to do in a stupid world? Suffer in isolation? Argue endlessly, trying to enlighten those who don't want to be enlightened? Schopenhauer offers a radically counterintuitive tactic: play dumb. If the world refuses to reward wisdom, then don't advertise it. Hide your sharp mind behind a friendly, unthreatening mask. In Schopenhauer's own words, the only way to win affection from people is to show the most animal-like simplicity of demeanor. This advice is startling. Be as simple as a beast to be liked. He doesn't literally mean become stupid, but rather project simplicity, the way an experienced actor might play a role. Why would being underestimated ever be a good thing? Because it disarms the envy and hostility of others. No one feels threatened by a fool. Once you don the jester's cap, people relax. They stop bristling defensively and might even let you in. Schopenhauer observed that it is a real recommendation to be stupid in society. That sounds almost sarcastic, but he's dead serious. When others see inferiority, it soothes their vanity. If a man is to be liked, he must really be inferior in point of intellect, Schopenhauer writes bluntly. Think of it like lowering your head to avoid the swinging club of someone's ego. They won't take a swing if they don't see you as a target. This idea isn't just Schopenhauer's. History and literature are full of wise fools. In many a king's court, the jester, the fool, was the only one who could speak truth to power, cloaking wisdom in humor. Consider the ancient strategy of feigned madness. The Bible tells of King David pretending to be insane to escape a hostile ruler. Shakespeare's Hamlet puts on an antic disposition, acting crazy to hide his very sane plans. Across cultures, strategists have echoed this: appear weak to lull your enemies. The Chinese even have a proverb, play dumb to catch the wise, implying that acting naive can outsmart the clever. Schopenhauer's contribution was to apply this strategy to everyday life, not just in wartime or political intrigue, but in our daily social survival. He knew firsthand that flaunting intellect only breeds enemies, so he counseled humility, even false humility if necessary. When you hide your strengths, you allow insecure people to save face. They no longer see you as a threat to their self-esteem. In one of his essays, Schopenhauer quotes the Spanish thinker Gracian approvingly: "To be well liked, one must dress in the skin of the simplest of beasts." In practice, this might mean biting your tongue when you know you're right, or smiling along when someone says something incorrect, but harmless. It might mean asking questions you already know the answer to, just to let the other person shine. This isn't stupidity, it's strategy. You're exchanging a moment of ego for long-term influence and peace. There's a hidden power in being underestimated. When people think you're not a player, they show their cards. They speak freely, assume you won't challenge them, maybe even take you into their confidence. All the while, you observe and learn. Since they aren't alarmed by you, you can maneuver in the shadows, accomplishing your aims without resistance. As one interpretation of Schopenhauer puts it, being underestimated can sometimes work in your favor. Indeed, sometimes being a little bit foolish can help smooth over tough social situations. When you play the fool, others drop their guard. Doors open that would stay closed to a braggart or a rival. Let's bring this into the 21st century. You might not be a philosopher in a Prussian salon or a jester in a king's court, but maybe you're an analyst in a meeting or a newcomer in the office, or just the smartest friend in your group. The dynamics Schopenhauer described are alive and well today. Workplace politics, especially, prove his point. Have you ever had a boss who seemed to resent your good ideas? Perhaps you innocently corrected them in a meeting or outperformed them on a project, and suddenly you're sidelined. It's the modern echo of what Schopenhauer warned. Displaying a superior ability makes others curse him in their hearts. Your boss might smile, but deep down they feel shown up, and they hold it against you. In such cases, Schopenhauer's advice is painfully relevant. Never make your superiors feel inferior. One commentator on Schopenhauer put it plainly: never ever make your trainer or boss feel like they're dumber than you. If you want to survive and thrive under a fragile ego, let them take the spotlight. Present your ideas tactfully, or even let them think your idea was theirs. This can be frustrating. Why should you have to hide your light? But consider the alternative. By playing dumb, you stay in the game. By insisting on flaunting your intelligence, you risk triggering exactly that vengeance Schopenhauer described like an office Cold War that you're unlikely to win. It's not just bosses. Think about social circles. Perhaps you have friends who are wonderful people but not as intellectually curious as you. If you constantly drop deep philosophical references or correct their facts, how long before they label you a pretentious know-it-all? You might notice they stop inviting you out. Nobody likes feeling intellectually small, so they avoid the person who inadvertently makes them feel that way. The result? They bond with each other over trivial things and leave the nerd out in the cold. This is social survival 101, and unfortunately it often means dumbing down to blend in. Laugh at the silly joke even if you don't find it clever. Nod along with the popular opinion even if you've read evidence against it, not because you've lost your beliefs, but because you're choosing your battles. Even in romantic relationships or family gatherings, a similar dynamic can play out. A husband downplays his knowledge on a subject to let his partner shine in front of friends. A sister bites her tongue about her career success around a struggling sibling. We do these things to keep peace and harmony. It's the same principle Schopenhauer espoused. Sometimes peace is better than pride. Being right at the cost of relationship can be a hollow victory. As Schopenhauer noted, people take the greatest pleasure in that which satisfies their vanity. Give someone the pleasure of feeling smart or strong, and you give them a gift. Their vanity is satisfied and they feel warm towards you. Take that away by exposing their ignorance and you make a quiet enemy. Emotional intelligence guides us to sometimes yield even when we know better. Our modern culture often glorifies speaking your truth and showing your skills, but it also punishes unfiltered honesty and unabashed brilliance. The tall poppy syndrome, where high achievers get cut down, is alive in offices, schools, even online. On social media, nuance and intellect are frequently drowned out by outrage and memes. The person who writes for fools is sure of a large audience, as Schopenhauer wryly quipped. Meanwhile, thoughtful content gets a niche following at best. It's an ironic truth. To reach the masses, you sometimes have to dumb it down. Many successful communicators and leaders intuitively know this. They simplify their image, use simple language, even pretend not to know things to seem relatable. From politicians feigning a folksy or shucks demeanor to managers who ask for input, they don't actually need just to let others feel involved. Playing a bit dumb is a tool. It can diffuse tension, build rapport, and calm the instinctive competition that flares when egos clash. Don't mistake Schopenhauer's advice for cynicism or despair. It's easy to hear "play dumb" and think it means demean yourself or abandon your values. Not at all. This is about strategy, not surrender. In fact, it takes a strong sense of self to willingly wear the cloak of humility. You must be secure in your intelligence to not need to prove it all the time. Schopenhauer isn't saying become stupid. He's saying there's wisdom in sometimes letting others think you are. It's a conscious, empowering choice. Consider the benefits. When you allow others to underestimate you, you gain freedom. Expectations drop, pressure eases. You can observe more and prepare your moves under the radar. People will speak more openly around you. Opportunities might fall into your lap because others aren't competing with you. They don't even realize you're in the race. As the old saying goes, the nail that stands out gets hammered down. By staying flush with the surface, you avoid the hammer, and you can strengthen the structure from within unnoticed. Being underestimated is like being a spy among the complacent. You gather intel, you win trust, and when the time is right, you can reveal your full strength to truly impactful effect. There's also a personal peace that comes from not having to fight every intellectual battle. Schopenhauer recognized that caring too much about others' opinions is a kind of weakness. We often exhaust ourselves trying not to appear foolish, obsessed with our image of intelligence. But he reminds us, people generally think too much about the opinions which others form of them, although this opinion is not in itself essential to happiness. In chasing others' approval, we actually give up our happiness. Paradoxically, accepting a little bit of underestimation, being okay with not getting credit for every smart thought, can liberate you. You focus on what actually benefits you, not on proving yourself at every turn. Playing dumb, in this sense, is an act of humility that guards your inner peace. So how can we apply this art of playing dumb in our lives without compromising our goals? Here are a few reflections. Pick your battles wisely. Not every misconception needs correcting. Not every debate needs winning. Save your intellectual firepower for when it truly matters. Let the small stuff slide. As Schopenhauer would advise, sometimes being silent or seeming ignorant serves you better than dazzling everyone with facts. Practice strategic humility. The next time you're in a group and you know the answer, pause. Ask yourself, what's the goal? If it's a casual conversation, maybe you don't need to prove anything. Let someone else have the moment if no harm is done. You'll build goodwill and avoid stirring envy. You don't always have to be the teacher. Sometimes it pays to be the student, even if you're just playing the role. Let others shine. If you have knowledge or skill, find ways to share it that uplift others' egos. Guide people to discoveries subtly instead of bluntly showing them up. They will remember that feeling. They'll associate you with insight without feeling inferior. This is influence gained through kindness, not intimidation. Use the element of surprise. By keeping some of your strengths under wraps, you maintain the element of surprise. When you do eventually step forward with a big idea or critical decision, people will be less guarded against it. They might even be astonished by what you pull off. Being underestimated means your successes will seem to come out of nowhere, which can amplify your impact when the moment is right. Protect your peace. Above all, remember that you are not obligated to set everyone straight. There is profound peace in occasionally saying, "I might be wrong," even when you're right, and just letting things be. You conserve your energy for what truly matters to you. In the long run, your happiness and sanity are worth more than winning every argument or flaunting your intelligence at every opportunity. Arthur Schopenhauer, often called the philosopher of pessimism, paradoxically offers a strategy of quiet hope here. He's telling us that even in a world that seems stacked against the wise can still find a way. It's a way of subtlety, of humility, of playing the long game. The world may be foolish, but you don't have to despair. Instead, be smarter about how you're smart. As one modern summary of Schopenhauer puts it, the reason why it pays so well to play dumb is because intelligence in other people rouses resentment and envy. Accept this hard truth, and you can turn it to your advantage. In this grand paradox, strength becomes weakness and weakness becomes strength. The clever chameleon survives where the flashy peacock might falter. Schopenhauer knew that open brilliance often provokes the worst in others, but a hidden brilliance can maneuver through the shadows, untouchable. It's a bit like martial arts of the mind. Use your opponent's force, their pride, their assumptions, against them. Let them think you're no threat, and they will hand you the keys to your own kind of quiet victory. As we close, reflect on your own life. Have you ever felt you had to dim your light around certain people? Did it feel like betrayal, or was it a smart move? Schopenhauer invites us to see it not as selling out, but as survival and wisdom. It's okay to let the world underestimate you, You lose nothing. You still are intelligent. You still know your truth. You're simply choosing when and with whom to share it. In a sense, you're cultivating true power, the kind that doesn't need external validation, the kind that achieves goals with minimal friction. So the next time you find yourself surrounded by ignorance or ego, remember Schopenhauer's counsel. Resist the urge to announce your superiority. Instead, smile quietly. Let others revel in their sense of importance. Observe, learn, and guide from behind the scenes. You may find that this approach opens more doors than it closes and preserves your sanity along the way. This is the strategic art of playing dumb, not as surrender, but as a form of stealth wisdom. I challenge you to embrace this paradox in the week ahead. Identify one situation where you'd normally assert your cleverness and instead hold back. Just listen and nod, or ask a simple question instead of giving a lecture. Watch what happens. You might notice the people around you become more relaxed, more open. You might learn something you would have missed while talking. And you'll know that your intelligence hasn't diminished, it's merely undercover, working for you rather than against you. In a world that often feels upside down, the truly wise know when to wear the fool's cap. Schopenhauer showed that there's power in silence and restraint, a way to win the game by not playing the expected role. It's a lesson written in the margins of history by many a hidden genius. Now, let it echo in you. Use it to navigate the conflicts and absurdities of life with a sly smile. Play dumb and outsmart them all. Stay wise, stay cunning, and remember, sometimes the smartest thing you can do is act a little stupid. If Schopenhauer's insight resonated with you, carry it forward, not in theory, but in practice. Subscribe to Echoes of Wisdom. Share this video with others, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.